It's a lovely morning. I want to welcome to the program listeners today. Kunle Ario is my name. With Nigeria's population growing at a rate of over 2.5% per year and an expected population of 400 million people by 2050, the current infrastructure in the country is likely to be overwhelmed. The construction sector growth rate, however, dropped to 3.42% in the second quarter of this year as against 4.02% at the same time last year. No thanks to some prevalent construction infrastructure challenges in the country, which include insufficient road network linking commercial centers across the country and an insufficient stock of affordable housing. The World Bank estimates that Nigeria will need to invest $3 trillion in infrastructure to reduce the infrastructure deficit in the country. So this one, we're taking a look at the performance of the beach industry in the outgoing year. My guests are already here. We'll take a break now. When we'll come back with the ground running, please to stay with us. Welcome back on the program. Today we're taking a look at the performance of the bead industry in Nigeria in this outgoing year 2023. And I have with me in the studio, Dr. Justice to I have Mr. Akintomide Akinlabi, the Vice Chairman, Nigerian Institute of Estate Surveyors and Valuers, also a lecturer at the University as the Department of Estate Management at Rufus River Polytechnic in Owo. So welcome you on the show today. Today having you.
Thank you very much. Our listeners at home, I say good morning to you all and I wish you Merry Christmas.
Let's take a look at this bead industry, that sector, very important sector of the economy. What assessment of this economy as the year is also winding down?
Thank you very much. Year 2023 is fast going and the bead industry is an area that we cannot but look at its performance in the year going up, running down. Well, as a major needs of human existence, it is very germane, it is very important that day in, day out, we look at the performance of this sector because our population is increasing, like you said, and the rate at which the population is increasing calls for attention. The housing is not increasing at the same rate. So definitely we continue to be talking about housing deficit. As a result of this, we have to take a serious look at it. In the year running down, the sector has tried its best, though if you look at the first 2 quarters of the year, the performance compared with the previous year appears to be not encouraging. And this is not unconnected to the political atmosphere in the country. You know, investors, they're always careful with their fund. The first 3 months of the year happen to be an electionary period. So the investors, developers who are putting up the attitude of sit down and look, they want to see what will happen, where the election will lead us to. And by the grace of God, it was peaceful. May 29, we had the president in place. And by available statistics and information, we realized that the sector peaked from the third quarter. Very soon the result of the third quarter will be out, and we will definitely see an improved outlook.
Okay, so definitely the election that we had in February actually affected the growth of the sector. Definitely.
Even though you as an individual, you are so skeptical, you don't know what will happen. The same thing with developers, with the investors. Every investor will want to put their money where it is safe. With the drum of war here and there, they were just looking at waiting and see what will come out of the election. So that was why the sector was so slow in the first 2 quarters of the year.
And some operators have also reached the issue of high cost of building materials and also keen interest.
Yeah, that is general phenomenon. The cost of construction is extremely too high. Extremely too high. Not only cost of construction, even though our government policy is unfriendly to housing sector, is unfriendly. The government policy, the Land Use Act, is not friendly. And our mortgage system is also not friendly. The financial sector is not friendly. There are so many factors. Our infrastructural facilities are there to encourage investment in real estate. I want to put it to you. Accra is the state capital. There are some areas in this state, even though a government estate, when you are located land, you have to provide road to your plot. You have to extend electricity to the place. So there are so many factors that are working against housing provision.
So what would you say is the effort of the private sector in ensuring that we also have all of this, when you also vis-a-vis the issue of the deficit in housing?
Yes, when we talk of the private sector, I want us to look it in 2 different sections. The organized private sector and the individual. And I want to put it to us that major contributors to housing stock, housing provision are the private individuals. An average man wants to have a place over his head I call his own house. You see, the minimum wage of 30,000, a man collecting 30,000 will be doing a job, will be doing cooperative, will be doing this and that to ensure that he has a place called his own house. But when it comes to organized private sector, you know they are businessmen and they are profit oriented. So their major concern is how to maximize their profit. And by the time they acquire land at exorbitant price, they sought finance at high interest rates, add to their profit. So their product at the end of the day, the cost is not affordable. And I'm still looking at this country, that what we mean by affordable housing. What is our definition? Because a common man, is no civil servant today can afford what we call affordable housing. Along our road there, at the Loyowo area, you will see by your left hand side, there is housing estate built by federal government. Go and ask them how much they are selling.
What's the unit cost of that?
It's none of them is less than 5 million. Though I'm not in position to speak for.
That's not affordable.
5 million. You are a rich man. I don't know how much is your salary. But if somebody that is getting 100,000 a month, how do you afford 5 million? Until we get to a stage in this country where I don't need to save to buy a house or to acquire a house. That should be okay. That if you're a civil servant, you access the mortgage system, you access your mortgage bank. In fact, they don't need to give you money to buy. They acquire it. They hold the document. You are living there. And they are deducting from the salary. 20 years, 15 years, even 30 years, depending on the number of years you have to retire from the service.
That's also said, it's also affordable. It also depends on the arrangement. Because I also know of arrangements where you also do rent and own. Rent and maybe over a period of time.
In this our environment. We are talking of ideas. That is the ideal situation. That is how it should be. But reverse is the case. And if you will care to know, that is the foundation of corruption in this country. Because a civil servant that are put in almost 20 years in service, that are yet to hold a plot of land, the next thing that will be going on in his brain is, what can I do to own a house by the time I'm leaving service?
Most of is also looking at retirement.
Yes, now. And when you retire, the benefit is not forthcoming on time. See, generally nothing is working. And it is interlinking and interwoven. What is affecting this will also affect him.
I also come to generally it is not working because I also an operator, also a part of those people who should also bring up the policies that also make it work. Earlier on we talked about government policies that are also affecting the beef industry. What are these policies you feel that is not that is hindering the performance of the industry?
Thank you. First and foremost, I want a situation whereby our Land Use Act is critically looked into.
What's wrong with the Land Use Act?
There are some provisions that is anti-real estate development. For example, in terms of the acquisition, government has the right to acquire. But what the law says is that whoever properties is being acquired must be compensated.
Okay.
But this act also went further to hold the hands of estate surveyors and valuers by saying, in determining the compensation payable to a claimant, this is how you should go about it. It shouldn't be. The estate surveyors and valuers should be allowed to use the appropriate method.
What are appropriate methods?
There are about 5 methods of valuation.
Okay.
Conventional. We talk of comparison method. We talk of cost method. We talk of residual method. Depending on the type of property. But the act is saying you use depreciated replacement cost, which is cost method. Whereas cost is different from value. That is first challenge. In the provision of using the cost method, land value should not be added because it is believed that government owns land. But it shouldn't be, because by the time I was even acquiring from government, I paid government. The house where I'm living, I bought the land from Ondo State Development and Property Corporation, and I paid. So why should I not be paid? The idea thing is that if government is taking my property, they should give me an amount that will enable me to acquire similar property in another place. So by the time you are not adding the land value, you take my property in Afubio, I want to get another place in Afubio, the person that want to sell to me, will it say, okay, because government did not pay me land value where I'm coming from, you will not collect the money for the land. So valuers should have been allowed to use the appropriate method. If it is comparison method that is appropriate for that kind of property, let them do it so that the claimant will have sufficient amount that will not make them be better off or worse off. And that is the provision of the Constitution. That when you are taking somebody's property, such a person should not be better off, should not be worse off. But reverse is the case. Let's even leave the Land Use Act. Let's look at human factor now.
Okay.
In the area of government policy. When I acquire a property, I need governor's consent, which will make me a legitimate owner of that property now. Consent to transfer.
In terms of CFO?
In terms of CFO. But this time around, the person I'm acquiring it from, I'm buying from, already has a CFO.
Okay.
And I need governor's consent. It costs huge, a lot of money to get governor's consent. Time constraint. As an investor who has an investment idea and find that, okay, I need support from financial institution. Let me get my property titled and use it as collateral. And I apply for this, and it's taking me a of years to get. So even though the idea of my investment will have became obsolete by the time I'm getting the document. Apart from the cost. And this is discouraging investment in real estate. And that is one of the reasons.
Government has also come out that it takes overnight to get all these documents that we're talking about, especially the CFO.
The CFO. Yeah, that is Ondo State government now.
Okay.
Thanks to Ondo State government. They have a program now that you can still get your CFO within some period of probably 1 or 2, 3 months. But it wasn't like that in the past. And it wasn't like that all over the country. So probably other states can come here and take a lead from Ondo State government. But even though when it comes to the issue of consent, it's not like that. And the whole CFO system.
For those who are actually monitoring this program, what is the difference between that consent and the CFO?
Okay. CFO is certificate of occupancy.
Yes.
On a single property, on same property, government cannot issue two CFO. Once there is a CFO on this property, say property at number 5 Oyemekun Road, if the property is changing hand from the original owner that is owning the CFO to another person, the subsequent owners cannot have CFO again.
Okay.
What they can have is deed of assignment.
Change of ownership.
Change of ownership. Deed of assignment. And for that transaction to become a legitimate transaction in which I can use the title as collateral, we need governor's consent. That is, the consent, the agreement of the government that it allows you to transfer it to me. That is governor's consent. Without that consent, that transaction is like whatever you want to call it. Because the CFO is not bearing my name. The bank will not accept it from me. The agreement will drop between ourselves that you have sold it to me. It's not tenable, it's not acceptable to the bank until government endorses it. And that endorsement is governor's consent.
Okay.
And that governor's consent takes time. It costs a lot.
So why are we also struggling to get all of these when we can also go to family lands and also buy land to develop our estate?
Fine. When I go to family land to buy land, I still have to come back to government. I will do the layout at the cost. I will do the survey plan, the perimeter survey plan at the cost. I need the government approval, the Surveyor General's approval to approve the survey plan at the cost. I will do the layout. The town planning department of the government sector will have to approve the layout at the cost. I will do the CFO at the cost. So the building plan approval at the cost. Everything is at the cost, at the cost, at the cost. Nobody is saying it should be free, but the cost should be investors friendly. Because at the end of the all this at the cost, at the cost, at the cost, government want to raise fund, generate revenue. Is going back to the populace who are coming to also buy from the developer.
Well, that's also part of the cost of production.
Cost of production. Then it is also most of the time the developer that will provide roads, that will provide infrastructure. Funny enough, the investor will buy transformer and this will PEDC, their property. You will have to pay them huge amount of money to power your transformer that you paid your money to buy. And they really want to come and generate.
So these are part of the reasons why the private sectors are not so coming into the sector, especially.
And the few that are there are ready to break people's neck. Recover their fund investment.
Okay.
To recover their investment. And you can't blame them for recovering their investment. Yeah.
Of housing deficits.
Yes.
What's the problem? What's the challenge of this democratic system?
I remember some years ago, I was working with an investor, real estate investor, developer. And we went to Federal Mortgage Bank here. And the maximum they can finance is 5 million. As a day.
5 million naira.
5 million naira. And none of the building cost less than 7.5. Bungalow. As at then, the same bungalow are being sold for 15, 18 million now. But as at that time, the minimum was 7.5. So the Federal Mortgage Bank said they cannot finance it as long as the price is more than 5 million. So that is the challenge. And even people that contributed to this mortgage, they could not access it. So they have lost faith in the whole system until we have a policy that is friendly. Where I live, like I said, I was the one that provided road to my club. And today,
maybe because it's a family land.
No, it was government estate.
And ordinarily government
as of 2010, government estate, 2010. There was no road, there was no anything. And now, where government is supposed to be making money in such an estate is their ground rent. Will I be happy to pay ground rent? And now we are talking of land use charge. So we are paying, but are we happy paying? Thanks to this government, I'm not patronizing this government. I'm not praising them, but thanks to them, since 2010 I've been in that estate. No government has remembered that estate with anything.
So what has government got done now?
Well, as we speak now, road construction is going on there. At least they gave us about 3 or 5, maybe 5 kilometers of road. And work is ongoing. And but I say things the way it is.
I understand. But the issue of also our law for foreign materials is also part of it. We don't go for local made materials any longer.
It is very unfortunate. Very, very unfortunate. Now we have a smart house where you will be somewhere, even outside the country, at the price of your phone. You will have a machine that will sweep your room for you. You have a machine that you will talk to. You have this, you will have that. Fine for those that can afford it. But it is killing our domestic production. Look, when I was younger, as a secondary school boy, to meet up my financial challenges, I was involved in molding of mud blocks. Strong and cheaper. I remember 1983 during election crisis. There was a gunshot that was shot at a building that was made of mud block. It could not penetrate to the other side, but try to get so-called cement hollow block now. But I don't know. We just love luxury. We import everything. And like our former commissioner for agri, minister for agri, they said even toothpick, we imported it.
It's also affecting the performance of the
definitely. It will kill the local industry. It will increase our demand for forex, and it will devalue our naira.
So as we look up to 2024, what's your projection for the year?
Well, to me, 24, I'm not a pastor. Though I'm a pastor, but I'm not prophesying. This is professional. It's going. Why did I say so? The challenge we have in the first 2 quarters of this year will not be there next year. It's not an electionary year.
Okay.
So definitely, as 2024 is starting, the investors are also. I know investors are getting prepared. I know some of investors.
Even in the face of this high cost of building materials?
Even at that. At least I know some investors that has contacted myself and some of my colleagues in need of lands for real estate development. And if you look at our environment, you will see developers coming up. If you go to Ondo Road now, from Akure to Ondo Road, you will see them there. If you go to our road, if you go to the airport side, or you see them coming up. So investors are coming. And when we are there like that, it brings competition. Definitely come down.
So we should be looking forward to
a brighter year.
A brighter year in that sector.
And I also want to believe that with some of government policy.
So what exactly, because this government policy is also important.
Yeah.
What exactly would you want government to also adjust as to also move into the new year?
Yeah. Please, if federal government can take a postal our professional body and some other organizations have been shouting, writing, appealing to government and our National Assembly to take a second look at our Land Use Act.
Okay.
That is one. Then our local, as in our state government.
What exactly would you want to change?
In that Land Use Act?
Yes.
That's one, make compensation attractive.
Okay.
So that I will not have a fear that when government takes my property, I will cry. Previous laws are very attractive. Even though but in recent time, it has not been so. In our state and some other states like that, or the Federation.
The last 75 minutes or whatever, I've been speaking with Mr. Akintomide Akinlabi, the Vice Chairman, Nigerian Institution of Estate Surveyors and Valuers, and also a lecturer at the Estate Management Department of Rufus River Polytechnic, taking a look at the beef industry in the outgoing year 2023. Well, thank you so much for sharing your thoughts with us.
Thank you very much.
It's a pleasure having you.
Thank you very much.
Asha is going to be on the show today. Join us on Wednesday for another one. Only Adeyo is my name. Good morning.